Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 31st day of October, 2024. Well, Samhain blessings and happy Halloween. Although, technically, Samhain is at 15 degrees Scorpio, which here where I am is somewhere between 3:15 and 3:30 p.m. on November 6th, but we won't quibble. I have the littlest pumpkin from our pumpkin patch. I have here, and my husband's going to be carving a one that's a little bit bigger. The biggest ones are, I mean, they're pretty good size. I don't know if we're going to do those or not, but probably not. We'll save those for the chickens throughout the winter. They like to have a pumpkin now and then, and so we just stick them in a cool area, and when it's time, we cut them open and they have at it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Well, we start with Fehu, the first rune of the Elder Futhark. Now, Fehu means cattle or wealth. Cattle is movable, so it means wealth that's transferable or transactional. So it can mean life force. It can mean growth and success. It can mean how you transact your experiences with others. It doesn't have to necessarily be having to do with finances, although it can certainly. But it's just I kind of broaden it. I think how we communicate with other people, how we convey our intentions. However we transact our experiences with others, again, whether it's financial, and initially, cattle or wealth would be considered financial, security-wise, the relationships we build that help us feel secure in life, that could be an element of Fehu. So let's see what the Geomancy runes have to say. Let's see, we'll put these in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. There's earth, and that's fire there. So here we're looking at conjunctio. So that's kind of interesting because last time we had carcer, where that was self-imprisonment. Conjunctio is it's complement, and if we're looking at how we transact our experiences with others, how we interact with others, what we convey to others. Then with conjunctio, that's union or joining. And so it's about how do we come together? How do we do that in a way that fosters harmony and unity and collaboration with other people, we'll say. So you'll be thinking about that today. How is it that you come together in unity with other people? And what kind of unity does that represent? Is it ego based? Is it higher self based? Which is essentially the theme of the As Above, So Below readings I do. How are you transacting your experiences in life today in a way that harmonizes with others, either through the ego or through the higher self? We'll say that. Let's go ahead and shuffle just a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit later start this morning. My husband had surgery yesterday morning. We had to be there at 6 a.m. to check him in. It was just, the surgery in the morning, and then he came home. But we didn't sleep the night before, and so we couldn't sleep very well last night. So we went to bed really late. So I'm just getting a little later start. But he's doing well, and that's all that matters. So very happy about that. So let's take 3 cards. Well, we have a lot coming in on us today with the 8 of Wands, but we have 2 cards from the Major Arcana to guide that process, guide how we're going to transact with others when we have a lot coming in on us. Here's the 8 of Wands. You can see there we're looking at 8 staffs or 8 poles. They still have life growing always in the suit of Wands. It's a fire element, so you're always going to see greenery still growing off of these staffs or wands or poles that are no longer affixed to the ground, no longer growing, but there's still life force there. So lots of life force there, lots of things happening, maybe lots of opportunities, maybe just a lot going on in our lives today. And then the other two cards we have from the major arcana are the Lovers and Temperance. So obviously, how are we aligning together with the Lovers? Balance, duality, discrimination, choice, the self and others, some kind of unification also means that. So I think that's going to align well with Carcer, or not with Carcer, but with Conjunctio. And then of course Temperance, balancing emotion with will, and achieving a sense of moderation. So balance in a higher level of balance here with Conjunctio and the Lovers and Temperance here, helping Conjunctio to do that, to maybe be a little discriminating in how we talk to one another, and not just blurt things out that may compromise unity or collaboration. So I mean, this could be at work, this could be in your in more your personal life at home, or with with family or friends or something, or neighbors. But let's go, before we get started, let's go ahead and do the numerology. So we have a 1 for Fehu, because it's the first rune of the Elder Futhark. We have a 6 for the Lovers. And we have the 8, of course, for the 8 of Wands. And then we have a 14 for Temperance. So we have 29. Oh, that's interesting. 2 and 9 is 11. So we've got the master number 11 for our overall numerology today. That's wonderful, because again, it's emphasizing that to come together in awakening and enlightenment with others is going to be the above side of things, the higher self side of things, the collective consciousness side of things. And so that's going to be the emphasis, I think, for the reading. But let me take a little drink of tea here. But let's go ahead and, again, let's start with the 8 of Wands. Here we have 8 staffs or poles or wands literally being thrown into the scene. You see a little house over here, a small castle on that, because it looks more like a castle, but a small one over on this little hill. You see lots of greenery here. It's all green. The ground is green, and so and you see trees dotting the whole landscape there on both sides of a little creek or river that runs through. You skies all blue, and so 8 is the number for strength or leadership or material recognition. It could be something like that. And so again, with Fehu, and that being about cattle and wealth and transaction with others, how we transact our experiences. With the blue sky, you're looking at, because in the different suits, it's not just simply fire element stuff. For example, in the suit of Wands, there's going to be other things. You've got earth down here, and you've got water and the blue sky. So you're looking at the water element there. So that's emotions. And so a lot's coming in on you. You might feel a little bit stressed by it, but at the same time, if you surrender to the experience, essentially, and just accept that this is happening and I just need to deal with things as I need to deal with them, it could be, say there's a lot happening say at work, you have a collaboration going on at work, and there could be a lot going on there, and you just need to, in order to preserve the collaborative nature of the experience, you need to take one thing at a time, or delegate, or what have you, and then bring everything back and try to deal with it that way. Maybe that might be an example of that. But the idea, and then that would be employing leadership with the 8, and in terms, especially if you're helping to delegate different parts of the experience, and so but in other words, how let's go on to the major arcana cards here, because they really are very similar to one another in terms of energy. You're dealing here with both cards. You've got angels in the cards. Okay, and you've got, and who knows, it could be the same angel, I don't know. This one always looks like it has leaves in its hair to me, like it's autumn or something, but it's probably more You're probably looking at the blend of the fire element, and maybe if that's a blue that looks like a bluish green, also in the angel's hair. You see the sun's rays extending out over the whole, well, behind the angel in any event. But it's almost like the hair is on fire in a way. But in any event, it's the same red wings as you find on the angel from Temperance, and so there's similarities between the angels here. Not quite as, you don't have the sun in this one, although you do have the rays of the creation surrounding this particular angel's head in Temperance. But here you see just a portion of the angel is sitting on top of a cloud. You see the depictions of Adam and Eve with the apple tree behind her and the serpent, and then you see Adam with the spindly oak tree behind him. You see the mountain in the center here. You see the green ground, the green grass. You see that, but what you see here, mountains usually indicate strength, or could be also indicate challenges. But you can see that the mountain is leaning toward Eve, toward the woman. And so I tend to look at the tree of knowledge here behind her, where she takes the bite from the apple. The serpent is giving her that information to go ahead and eat from the tree of knowledge, and all at the same time, her gaze is toward heaven, toward the angel, okay? Whereas his gaze is toward her. And so she's getting spiritual knowledge from this whole experience, and he's getting guidance from her. When you look at the major arcana, you're looking, after you see the fool, then the magician, then the high priestess, you then see the empress. Okay, you don't see the Lover's card where creation is made between these two. She gives birth to creation. After that is when you see the emperor or her consort. And so the strength of creation lies with the woman, essentially. And the goddess presence in our life. There is you look at the idea of dark and light. The dark is the void of creation, essentially, and that's the feminine aspect of self. And so that seems to be, to me anyway, when I look at this card, and I know that's a departure from what biblical kinds of explanations might be. But I look at this, that the strength bends toward the woman because she can handle more than what the man can handle. He's not looking at the angel. He's looking at her, which is fine. It's just that she's the one that's getting the divine knowledge given to her, which I think is a departure from the more patriarchal type of explanation for the Adam and Eve story. Eve is the lesser, and I just don't buy that. I don't buy into that at all. And I think that because of that, we've seen civilization in the patriarchal way lend itself more to an emphasis on men over women instead of men in balance with women. It's not. It's men seem to think that they control the narrative, and no, they really don't. And when they do, they tend to screw things up, right? And so with the Lovers, you're looking again at a balanced polarity. You could look at it that way: the masculine and feminine within. Or the projective and receptive presence within. You're also looking at the idea of duality, choice, self in others, discrimination, also integration and unification. And so I think, again, that's going to align well with conjunctio and define what that's supposed to be here for us today. How do we unite and join with others? Well, we do so in balance and respect for one another, and not in not preferring one over the other, but in balance together. And again, when we transact our experiences, that needs to be the rule of thumb we use when we do that. For the best outcome, for the most successful outcome. That's our true wealth in life, is learning to live in balance with one another and within the self, right? And so moving on to Temperance, you're going to see that same sort of thing. Here you see a cube with a a pyramid shape within the cube. The cube is going to represent Earth, even though it's not brown, it's white. But the pyramid is going to be, or the triangle is going to be red, which would be the glyph for fire. And so we have the glyph for earth and the glyph for fire. So we want to ground our will, essentially, and as well as our emotions in spirit, as opposed to, and because that's referenced by the angel here, as opposed to the ego. Here you have the angel with one foot on the ground and some toes in the water there. So we see a lot of different elements here. We see the fire element with the angel itself with the red wings. We also see the emanations here, the divine emanations around the angel's head. We see the sun disk in the middle of the angel's forehead. So we see also the sun rising between two peaks. We see a path winding up between them. So every time you see two things split in half, whether it's two trees, one on each side, or two rock faces, or two towers, or what have you, you have the idea of balance within that particular card. Chariot, you see it all over the place between the Sphinx lions that pull the chariot, the wheels, the kingdom behind him, behind the king that's in the chariot. We see lots of expressions of balance there. It's also about healing. That would be another way to look at that, emotional balance or mind, body, spirit balance with temperance. But the idea of temperance is we're looking at adaptation, purification, healing, having self-control. So temperance being to temper yourself would be to behave in a moderate way. Express moderation and balance in your life. So it just seems to me that when we have a lot coming in on us, being able to rely on one another to deal with whatever's happening, I think is a true expression of conjunctio. I think it's how we manifest and transact our experiences with other people in a way that's going to be successful. Instead of pulling against one another, we come together in unity and harmony. I think that right now we have so much disharmony at least in our country, if not in the world, that we have people's individual motives being more important, or personal agendas being more important than what's best for everybody. Defining some way forward together on something. But I think with this particular reading, if we just want to personalize it more, I think there's just a lot coming in on us today, and we need to be able to prioritize maybe a little better than we have. What do we need to deal with first? Now that may take some discussion with other people, like with my husband and myself. We have to prioritize the things we do here for the next 4 or 5 weeks, so that he heals in a way that is better than if he just jumps right back into the fray and does things he shouldn't be doing, right? And so I have to be able to help more with him, do some of the things he was doing to make sure that he doesn't compromise the healing. So it's a way of coming together in unity and transacting our experiences together in a way that supports healing and balance and a collaboration between the two of us that's going to do that. And if you're able to do that with others, to me, you can look at financial wealth, that's one thing, but the true wealth is in our experiences with other people. How we integrate, how we rely on one another. Can we rely on one another? And if that part is broken in some way, how do we heal that? How do we come back together and heal that experience so that we can then return to the truth of what we are, which is one in the collective consciousness, and one in the Creator. The division, the issues are transient. They're an illusion. They're hanging on to emotional stuff that really doesn't have any relevance on the path forward. It's living in what's happened, or the perception of what's happened in the past. And so how do you express Fehu in your life if you're doing that? How do you transact your experiences with others in a way that's going to be successful if you're constantly looking at it through the lens of the past? So again, neither would reflect the lovers, the energy of the lovers, or temperance, you see, or the 11 master 11 numerology for the whole reading, which is awakening and enlightenment, right? So it seems to me that there is a call to wake up to what the truth of things really are, what really matters in life. How do we become successful together? How do we elevate one another together, you see? And so I think that I think the reading is pretty clear. November 1st is tomorrow. We're ending one month. We're beginning a new one tomorrow. And in a sense, we're beginning a new period in our lives. Lots of things happening between now and the beginning of 2025. And lots of moments where we can come together and head down this new path together with each other in a way that supports and elevates the experience, instead of is trying to tear down what we're trying to build up. And so there's been so much in the readings here where we either have one or two major arcana cards, which is reminding, they're soul archetype cards. And so it's reminding us that, the physical reality is an illusion. And we can make that anything we want it to be. So why would we want to be at odds with one another? Why would we not want to come together in some type of unity to where we can move forward together? Instead, and it doesn't mean, we're going to agree all the time. That's not the point. The point is that we have a shared purpose, and we're going to figure it out, you see. And we do that again, no matter how much is coming in on us, we have to learn to prioritize. And again, with the meaning of the number 8, with strength, inner strength, leadership, those types of things, it takes that ability to initiate and make those decisions in a way that prioritizes what we need to do, that deals with everything coming in to see the bigger picture of it and how it all relates to one another, and how we can move forward together. So again, with conjunctio, the union and joining and manifesting our experiences so that we do that, instead of or the type of joining that we're having is on a higher plane than what the ego wants to have. The ego wants to run amok and tear things down. Higher self says, not so fast. We're not going back to that. We're not doing that anymore. And that seems to be a theme now in people's consciousness. We're not going back to the nonsense and the hate and the division. It's time to let all of that go and come together in higher awareness and higher consciousness with one another, and manifest our success together, instead of a handful of people who want to control everything and to their own advantage. And the heck with the rest of us. I heard someone say, somebody who's one of those people is saying, oh well, it will have to go through hardship for a while. Just accept hardship. It's like, why would we ever do that? Why would we ever give ourselves away to negativity and somebody's personal agenda that's only for him, only for a handful of people that do nothing for the rest of the world, but try to control and take and harm, you see? It's like, excuse me, haven't we been through enough? Why do we need to do more? Why can't we make a different choice? And I think that choosing to live in harmony with conjunctio and to manifest that whole experience is, to me, that's the definition of success, and that Fehu is talking about. And again, doing it in balance and moderation, we can then take what's coming in on us in a way that's in conjunction or in conjunctio with other people, and to make those decisions we need to make together and to move forward together. So, and live in that enlightenment and awakening, awakening to who you truly are as a soul that's part of the collective consciousness. That is what is manifesting our experiences, or is supposed to be, right? And so the lesson learned is we don't let the ego take over. We don't let the ego say all the things that we think we want to hear, but in reality it's just stuff to say to get you on board with something that's never going to serve you, that's never going to create the fehu in your life that you need to have. So I mean, so in that regard, this could also be a message of unity and dealing with things together in a way that elevates us and moves us forward in unity with one another. So another message reading to think about and how we transact our experiences with others. So anyhow, I think that's it. I think we did it. And thanks so much for watching. And if you haven't yet clicked subscribe, I'd love you to do that. And I do the readings on Mondays and Thursdays for those of you who are new. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Check out my blog, Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. There are the readings for next week or the posts for next week rather will come out in the midnight hour on Sunday mornings. Each week I do. That's when I publish. I cross-publish them over on Medium, Substack, and Patreon. One of them, the correspondence, is only half of it. The rest of it I leave for the blog. But there'll be a forecast. There'll be the correspondences for Work and Magic. And also right now I'm doing an herbal magic series. So there will be that. And there's also a newsletter. If you want to get all that in your inbox on Saturdays ahead of time, you can subscribe for the newsletter. If you go over into the blog and on the right side panel, scroll down a little bit and you'll just see newsletter sign up. You put your email in there and it starts coming on Saturdays. But again, if you're like me, you have 8 million things a day coming through your inbox. It's like, oh God, no more. So if you want to subscribe for a while and unsubscribe, there's a place at the top and the bottom to unsubscribe. So if you're just getting too much stuff in your inbox, that's fine. But if you do that, then just come back to the blog once a week and take a look at what's there and see if the forecast resonates in your life. And if you're working magic, you've got some correspondences there that you can look at to see what you need to do each day, and or the things you should consider every day if you're into that. Some people are, some people aren't. And then again, I try to do another one a post where it's just informational and where you can learn something. And I used to do a bunch of opinion pieces. I haven't done those in a while. It would have been just too exhausting over the last few years to do that, I think, emotionally, because I can get pretty worked up pretty easily. And so anyway, I haven't been doing that, but I feel one coming on. So we'll see. We'll see in the next couple of weeks what happens there. There might be something there I'll tell you about. And but other than that, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Samhain feasts if you're going to have one. A lot of people wait till the weekend. It's just a time where it's essentially the last harvest meal that you have there, and where the veil is now thinning and you're able to feel your ancestors who have passed around you and surround you with love and support and unity and reminding you of who you truly are. And so enjoy the experience whenever you're going to celebrate it. And then if you're waiting until the 6th to do it, that's okay too. When it's 15 degrees Scorpio. So, but in any event, have a good day, have a wonderful weekend, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.